Good evening. Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, the CDC is under fire for flip-flopping on the mask guidance. The CDC under fire is backtracking on its initial guidance on the use of face coverings to prevent infection. On Monday, political commentator, Gateway pundit, contributor Joe Hoff criticized the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention for recommending masks be worn in public settings. This came after a recently resurfaced study published by the CDC in September found a majority of the case patients who tested positive for COVID-19 reported they often or always wore a cloth mask or face covering. 5 days after the study, CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield insisted masks are a guaranteed way to protect an individual from the coronavirus. Quote, these face masks are the most important, powerful public health tool we have, he stated, and I will continue to appeal for all Americans, all individuals in our country to embrace these face coverings. This is a complete 180-degree from a statement he made back in February when he urged the general public against its use. There is no role, he says, for these masks in the community. They need to be prioritized for healthcare professionals as a part of their job that are taking care of the individuals and or the individuals that have this virus and are in home quarantines for those family members. But Dr. Redfield previously stated, I would like to prioritize the usage that we recommend and get people to realize that that is where these masks need to be reserved. Mask mandates have become a polarizing topic with the American people claiming they violate individual freedoms. I agree with that as well. Additionally, some have even suggested the guidelines are being created without much scientific basis to support it. And I've even reported on this earlier on in my reportings about the fact that even the CDC, even the World Health Organization have proven that the WHO itself proven years ago, about 2 years ago, back when Obama had these things we were dealing with the coronavirus, I can't remember the name of the darn thing now, but it was saying that the N95 masks were not even effective against any virus out there at all. You could wear it, but it was not effective against the virus. Matter of fact, they said no cloth mask. Matter of fact, they said also that it could be dangerous to your respiratory health. So we get a lot of these things that come out here and people see the science. But when the science doesn't fit what you need it to fit, then it's wrong. And this is what we see a lot coming up from our Democrat Party. Things that they said were correct before, all of a sudden now are wrong. Well, President Trump has paid attention to the science, and he's followed it, and he's followed it very closely. And you see he doesn't wear a mask all the time because his doctors probably tell you it really doesn't do you any good. You can wear it all you want. You still can get the virus if you're meant to get it. But the Democrat Party, oh man, this is the title of our thing tonight, Danger, Danger. The Democrat Party is lost in conservative space. They're lost in conservative space. They're losing it there in the Senate. Judge Amy Coney Barrett said, you will not be getting Justice Scalia. You will be getting Justice Barrett. She told them. Justice Amy Coney Barrett recently dismissed comparisons between her and her mentor, the late Justice Antonin Scalia, during her Senate confirmation hearing on Tuesday. Chairman Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, asked Judge Barrett what she would say to critics who argued she would rule just like Scalia would. She responded by stating she would rely on the statutes at hand when making decisions and not the legacy of Scalia. Then she goes on to quote, I would say that Justice Scalia was obviously a mentor And as I said when I accepted the president's nomination, his philosophy is mine too. You know, he was a very eloquent defender of originalism, she explained. And that was also true of textualism, which is the way I approach statutes and their interpretation. Barrett also said judges can't wake up one day, decide they have an agenda, and then impose their will on the world. She added, you have to wait for the cases and controversy. Also, another quote, she says, similarly to what I said about originalism for contextualism, the Judge Scalia approaches that the text as it is written with the meaning it had at the time and doesn't infringe your own meaning, she continued. But I want to be careful to say that if I'm confirmed, you would not be getting Justice Scalia. You would be getting Justice Barrett. Well, we're going to take a short break here on the Black Conservative Voice. My name is David Colbert. We'll be right back with you in a moment.
I'm Greg Raths. As a veteran, current council member, local businessman, I know our community. As your congressman, I'll fight to reduce healthcare costs, keep our cities safe, and our communities healthy. Our jobs protected, our economy growing, and our nation defended. Orange County is a wonderful place to live, work, and raise a family, but together we can make it even better.
Vote Greg Raths for Congress.
I'm Greg Raths, and I approve this message.
To every single mother, every small business owner, every farmer, every cancer survivor, and every woman out there who has ever been put down by the establishment, it's time to stand up. On November 3rd, we need you to write in Ola Hawatma on the ballot under New York 19th Congressional. Make history in the New York 19th District with the first woman to win by a write-in. Don't just vote. Make history on November 3rd, 2020. Write in Ola Hawatma.
Dr. Melinda Morris supports a strong economy, safe neighborhoods, limited property taxes, and promotes an improved education system. Dr. Melinda Morris wants to improve access and insurance coverage for medical care. Dr. Morris is pro-life and will support right-to-life legislation in Austin. Dr. Morris will remain true to her values when she is elected to office. She is going to Austin to promote life, prosperity, and personal freedom for the constituents of Senate District 13.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Now, I really don't normally look closely at some of these reports, but I see something here and I want to share with you. Despite protests, Democrats have no way to stop Judge Barrett from being confirmed. Since the Supreme Court confirmation hearing for Judge Amy Coney Barrett began on Monday, you can hear the frustration, resentment, and desperation in the voices of Democratic members of the Senate Judiciary Committee as they sit through a process whose outcome is largely a foregone conclusion. Bearing a major reversal, Barrett is set to have her confirmation hearing wrapped up by the end of the week. Votes are scheduled to start on Thursday before the Judiciary Committee members even finish taking testimony. A confirmation vote, but the full Senate is scheduled for a week of October 26th, just before election, a week off. Even as a Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham opened the first day of the hearings a couple of days ago, while the full Senate is out of session over fears of coronavirus transmission, he acknowledged the coming days will be about pantomiming, not persuasion. This is probably not about persuading each other unless something really dramatic happens. All Republicans will vote yes, and all Democrats will vote no, said Graham. An ally to President Donald Trump, I would just ask one of the committee to extend possible. Let's make it respectful. Let's make it challenging. Let's remember the world is watching. Democrats have few remedies except to dutifully object and attempt to lay political traps as they watch Barrett seem to cruise to the lifetime appointment that could change the balance of the court for generations to come. To this point, Barrett has been predictably evasive when it comes to high stakes questions about abortion rights, marriage equality, and election administration. As the second day proceeded, the visibly frustrated Senator Dianne Feinstein, I can't stand her, the top Democrat on the panel, continued to press Barrett on abortion rights and precedent. This is what I told you guys earlier on my earlier program, that the whole thing is about killing babies. They want to prevent the government, not prevent the government, they want to keep the government in this business of killing babies through abortion. They have not, I told you before, we put a thing into law. Legislation is a law, and they're trying to overturn it, and they never really enacted it. So your taxpayer dollars are still paying for abortions on something that is a major cause with major effects on every half of the population. This is what they want you to believe of this country, who are women. You know, back when they first did Roe versus Wade, and nobody else said this, even years ago, that they did a polling of the American women. And you know that 97 or 98% of the women were against abortion. Only 2% were for abortion. Then he goes on to say, it's distressing not to get the straight answer she is said on Tuesday. What happened is, oh no, she doesn't have to answer them because she is not answering on the basis of anything. This is not about legislation. This is about upholding the Constitution, which the Democrat Party through Antifa and through BLM are trying to destroy. The rapid pace is unlike anything seen in recent years, and the rush to find a successor for Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg has taken on a political urgency. The Supreme Court may well decide elements of the 2020 election and is set immediately thereafter to consider yet another challenge to Affordable Care Act, better known as Obama mess up, pretty much, Obamacare, to Democrats, whose own election year Supreme Court nominee failed to get a single hearing in the Republican-controlled Senate in 2016. The entire process reeks of hypocrisy, they say, in the final hours before voters decide whether or not to make President Trump, and I'm going to go into say that garbage this gentleman here is saying, but Senator Colbert, she opens her big mouth. We don't have some clever procedural way to stop this sham, to stop them from rushing through a nominee. This is not a sham. This is a constitutional process your Democrat Party and your former President Obama didn't like anyway. He was a freaking but a constitutional lawyer and teacher, a professor, and he did not even believe in the Constitution which he was teaching. So what was he teaching? Well, I would like to have been in on that, because I would have let him have it. If he was going outside the Constitution trying to get us to go against the Constitution, which I believe he probably was. If anybody is set under him, please let us know. Then he said, but we have, what is this with this secret weapon stuff? We have a secret weapon that they don't have. We have Americans who are watching. Yes, you have Americans who are watching the stupidity trying to crucify somebody because she is a Catholic, a Christian, trying to crucify her because she has Christian and Judeo-Christian values, which is what our country was founded on. If you don't like this country, get out. That's what I say, get out. There's plenty of countries overseas. If you don't like this country, get out. But this country was built on Judeo-Christian values. We welcome people in, but the standard here is based upon the Constitution of these United States of America. But it's just, and then in earnest, please, let's look at this. This is Senator Cory Booker looked for in last-minute defections. though nothing short of a miracle could help his effort. If one of my colleagues would stand up on this committee, we can hold this over until after an election. Yeah, they want to hold that, and they want to hold it over after the election, but President Trump is still going to get elected. Unless you cheat, which I'm sure you're going to go out of your ways to do. Democrats are known for their abilities to circumvent the law and to lie. Very clear. It's a public truth. So you can try to hide it all you want. And he goes on to say, if two of my colleagues in the Senate floor agree with their two other colleagues, Republicans, we can stop this, Booker said. And before turning back to likely outcome, otherwise this is a charade. So if we don't agree with you on the Judiciary Committee, then it's a charade. Give me a freaking break, Mr. Booker. It's not a charade just because people don't agree with you. We agree with the Constitution of the United States of America, which says that the sitting president can nominate a Supreme Court justice or one to be reviewed and confirmed as Supreme Court justice. So, moving on. We're going to take a short break right now. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth.
President Trump made a promise to protect our Social Security and Medicare. He kept that promise, and he always will. Today, Social Security and Medicare are strong, and under President Trump, they will never be cut. President Trump is protecting pre-existing conditions. Prescription drugs are more affordable. The cost of insulin is going down. Under President Trump, our benefits and our health care are safe and secure.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. I'm your host, David Colbert. Democrat tactics at this point of the hearings is to make Republicans pay a political price in 3 weeks when votes start being counted. As Times' Tessie Barrison observed, Democrats are keeping their complaints focused on future of Obamacare, a smart election year pivot, when they know they can do little practically to stop this. Democrats have decent odds of denying Republicans Senate majority come January. They need to pick up their 3 of the 4 seats, which I'm hoping and praying that they don't, because this country will go down the toilet if we allow them to take over the House and the Senate. But we need to keep the Republicans in control of the Senate, and we need to put them in control of the House come November 3rd. Senate majority come January, they need to pick up 3 or 4 seats, and I don't think they are. The people even listen to me right now, I know I don't have a huge audience, but I do want to say, don't vote Republican. If you vote Republican, you're putting this country into a risk of losing our freedom of speech, our religious freedoms, and also our Second Amendment right, the right to bear arms. One of the continues of the vice president role, Senator Kamala Harris, joined the Judiciary Committee remotely from her office on Capitol Hill and acknowledged Democrats' limited power for now, and hopefully in the future as well. Senate Republicans have made it crystal clear that rushing the Supreme Court nomination is more important than supporting American people. Now, this is them talking their foolishness as usual. But they're not rushing anything. President Trump, if they have not realized, is the president, and he is the one who made the nomination. So why are we saying Republicans? Why are we blaming it on the party? You can't blame it on the party. President Trump could have said, well, I'm just going to let this go until after the election. But it's close to the election, yeah, he said, well, hey, I got enough time. We're going to try to get this through. And if he has the power to do it, I guarantee you, if the Democratic president had been in there, he would have done the same thing. And they would not have been real nice about it at all. So anyway, this is a sad thing. This is kind of reported by the Daily Beast, so I might be checking some spots in here and going through it. But everything Democrats care about is in danger with Justice Amy Coney Barrett. So Amy Coney Barrett reported the leading contender to take over the Ginsburg seat, which is the only contender, is a highly intelligent Notre Dame law professor. Since 2017, federal judge. She has written numerous scholarly articles on a wide variety of legal and philosophical issues, and unlike some recent nominees appear to have a spotless ethical record. She is unquestionably qualified, but she is also an arch conservative whose confirmation will permanently alter the American legal landscape. Praise God. Yes, including the right to get an abortion. But not only that, they say it take the Affordable Care Act. Barrett wrote that the NFIB versus Syllabellus, or whatever, the 2012 case which preserved Obamacare, Chief Justice Roberts pushed the Affordable Care Act beyond its plausible meaning to save the statute, and expressed skepticism of Roberts' court conception of the judicial restraint, its approach to statutory interpretation. And I agree with future Justice Barrett. And then she goes on to say, given that several ACA decisions have been filed for, with Roberts joining the court's 4 more liberals members, including Ginsburg, who is no longer there. A Justice Barrett confirmation would flip that math and spell the end of Obamacare as soon as next year. And we need to get that mess out of there. People know your premiums were doubled. He lied and said that you can keep your doctor. Yeah, give me a break. You can't even find out who your doctor is anymore and whether he wants to do anything. A lot of doctors left the business after this stupid law was passed. Then they say, or consider guns, another issue often decided 5-4. In a recent case, Judge Barrett dissented for a majority opinion upholding a ban on felons obtaining guns, saying that only violent felons should be banned and that all people have the right to keep and bear arms, but the history and tradition support Congress's power to strip certain groups of that right. Now, I do agree. If somebody has mental health issues and stuff, now they should not be owning a weapon. And if they've had criminal behavior and who are proven with some mental health issues, no, they shouldn't be walking around with a weapon. Then he goes to say, that is an extremely narrow path for any gun regulation, especially since only history and tradition can justify restriction. And I think history is there. History and tradition say very little about AR-15s. Yeah, they may say about little about them, but that still doesn't take away the fact that they kill a lot of people. Okay. Or consider immigration. They're going over each topic. Barrett cast the deciding vote to deport a legal resident of the United States who have lived here for 30 years because of a legal technicality. And she voted to uphold a Trump administration rule that green cards can be withheld from anyone who the government thinks might rely on public assistance. Now, I don't know if all these statements are true because the liberals and the fake news media will come up with all kinds of stuff. I had to do some research on this green card issue, so I don't necessarily agree with that. So I'm saying it, but that's it. Then it says, one strains to find an ideological balance in this extensive record. With the apparently no exceptions, Barrett has taken a right-wing position on every contentious case that has come before her. And all the contentious case, people, what I say, they're based on Judeo-Christian values and precedences. Well, you have a Judeo-Christian woman getting ready to be appointed to the Supreme Court. So she's going to uphold the rights that are stated in the Constitution of these United States of America. So we're going to take a short break right now, and we'll be right back with you here on the Black Conservative Voice. I'm David Colbert.
Do you care about Black lives? I do. And unlike the people that currently run Baltimore, I actually have a plan to make life better for Black people here. Walk with me. I want you to see this. I'm Kim Klacik. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This city was once among the most prosperous, populated, and powerful cities in America. So what happened? Our leaders abandoned us and Baltimore fell into ruin. But it doesn't have to be this way. None of this has to be this way. A broken Baltimore does not have to be our future. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I see the city differently. I walk the streets of Baltimore and see what could be. I want you to see what I see. I see Baltimore that picks up trash. There are piles of garbage all around Baltimore. It makes life unsafe for our families. I'll work with city leaders to get Baltimore's Solid Waste Bureau the resources it needs to take out the trash. Our streets should be a reflection of our leaders. Clean, not dirty. Much of our trash gathers in abandoned homes. There are over 17,000 abandoned buildings in Baltimore. They are a scar on the face of our city. I will support tax credits and incentive programs to give residents a chance to buy and rehabilitate these homes. Everyone deserves a safe community and a chance at home ownership. Let's put the charm back in Charm City. Who will live in these homes? The newly employed constituents of Baltimore City. This district needs more jobs. The best way to get them is by having businesses invest in our community. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act gives federal tax incentive to drive private investment into opportunity zones just like Baltimore. Who will work in all of these new jobs if we don't have an educated workforce? 9 out of 10 black boys in Baltimore are not reading at grade level. Over a dozen high schools in Baltimore have zero students proficient in math. This is a tragedy. We can end the school to prison pipeline with school choice, providing parents with options to escape schools that do not serve our children. Let's make Baltimore better for our kids. Isn't that the point? That's my vision for Baltimore. The corrupt leaders hate it. They attack me for taking a stand, for wanting better for our people, our children, our communities. But I'm not the only one who wants better. Tens of millions of you have shared the struggle of black people in Baltimore. You lifted our voices. You cared about our black lives more than our own Democrat leaders. They have done nothing for us. Now they can't hide. It's time for change. We are that change. I'm Kim Klasick, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about black lives. All black lives matter. Our communities matter. We matter. And Baltimore doesn't have to vote Democrat.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. I'm just going to go through one last basic thing. And this article is put out by the Daily Beast. It was a very educational article, pointing out a few things that about Judge Barrett, and that's why I'm saying. But there, once again, in a few weeks, the 8th Justice Supreme Court will hear a case about whether taxpayer-funded adoption and foster care agencies can discriminate against people based on religion, sexuality, or other factors. And granted to say, we already know that's a loaded statement and a loaded question right there, because their main focus is what they're trying to get accomplished. And you can say what you please, this is what they're trying to get accomplished. They're trying to keep it legal for same-sex couples to adopt children. And I disagree with that. That should not be the case. I don't care what they say. You're confusing children and marriage. Let me move on. I'm not going to go too much into this. Let me say. Then it goes on to say, but if you imagine Justice Barrett on the bench, it is either 5-4 or 6-3, with the religious organization winning easily. It's no longer a close case. Yes, it shouldn't be a close case. This is a Judeo-Christian-based country. And all this sin and wickedness has gone on in this country for years. It's hurt our country. Killing babies. You think God is standing by and said, oh, this is okay? It's hurt our country. It's hurt our economy. It's hurt the health of this country. All kinds of things have happened because of this wicked thing that this country has been doing and really even this world for all these number of years. And I am glad, for one, that we're taking out a fight against it once again. Then it goes on to say that by thousands of cases across the federal state courts, religious exemptions for businesses turning away gay or trans people, further limitations on equality of same-sex marriage. And I've never heard anything about this. Nobody turn away gay or lesbian people or transsexual. No, it's not about that. And this thing about same-sex marriage, there's no such thing. There could be, same-sex unions or whatever. But God created the standard for marriage. Marriage is between a man and a woman, a husband and a wife. It is not between a man and a man or a woman and a woman. I'm sorry. This is just the way it is. They can do whatever they want to do, but marriage is marriage. And God gave the meaning of marriage. It's in Scripture. One man, one woman. That is what marriage is. You can call it whatever else you want. But there's no such thing as marriage between a man and a man or a woman and a woman. God says it's between a man and a woman. And God, his statements and what his judgments are not up for anyone's debate. And it's what the Democrats like to say, Nancy Pelosi, and I've heard some other Democrats say this, it is what it is. And that's what it is in God's word. It is what it is. More restrictions on abortion providers and women who get abortion, religious exemptions to employment, discrimination laws, funding of religious schools, and countless other issues. Now, when they're talking about restriction on employment laws, well, I worked in companies before that would not even allow you to talk about your faith with another employee. What does that have to do with them? If they're talking to you and they're asking you questions, you can't have a freedom of speech and talk to people? No, that shouldn't be a basis for discriminating against people when they go to get work or on a job. I mean, I don't promote people if they don't want to hold church on a job, they don't have to hold that. But if they want to have religious meetings, they can have it if their space is allowed in schools or whatever. If they're allowed to do, let them have it. It shouldn't be against the law because this country has religious freedoms. I may not agree with all the religions that are in this country, but I do agree for their reasons and their ability to be able to practice their religions as long as it does not hurt, harm, or endanger any other member of the American people. Now you see that he goes on to say, while Senate Republicans are willing to make themselves look like idiots and hypocrites. And this is garbage. And like I said, this is from a liberal news rag, the Daily Beast, which I normally do not read. They just have some interesting information in there that I wanted to share about Amy Coney Barrett. Also, let me go on and we'll start with this one. President Trump will have health care which is far better than Obamacare. President Trump's determined to provide all Americans with superior health care coverage than what Obamacare affords them. And I'm telling you, this president is sitting right now. He has already proven that he does what he says he's going to do. The man overcame coronavirus in a few days through his implications through medical practices and medications that he's approved and allowed you even the opportunity to be able to use those medications. And here he is maybe less than 2 weeks later, and he's already showing antibodies, and he's not symptomatic anymore. So what do you say about that, Democrat Party? What do you say about it? I'll tell you what he say. They're saying now the president lied. He already had coronavirus, and he just was hospitalized. So the foolishness goes on. While taking to Twitter Monday, the president noted that healthcare costs will be far lower and people with pre-existing conditions will be protected at even higher level than now. And I don't mean to give any of you Democrats out there a problem, but the fact of the matter is this president has stood by almost every decision that he said he was going to make. He stood by them, and even some that he had in his mind that he wanted to help the American people. In a separate tweet, he said Republicans must state loudly and clearly that they're going to provide health care at much lower cost. The president also noted that Republicans will always protect pre-existing conditions. Amen. despite these crazy commercials Joe Biden and all the Democrat parties are putting out there, President Trump, they'll probably say he never said he will cover pre-existing condition. Like they try to say that he would, what did they say? It's just a lot of foolishness going on. But anyway, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with you in a moment here on the Black Conservative Voice, and then we're going to close.
To every single mother, every small business owner, every farmer, every cancer survivor, and every woman out there who has ever been put down by the establishment, it's time to stand up. On November 3rd, we need you to write in Ola Hawatma on the ballot under New York 19th Congressional. Make history in the New York 19th District with the first woman to win by a write-in. Don't just vote. Make history on November 3rd, 2020. Write in Ola Hawatma.
Dr. Melinda Morris supports a strong economy, safe neighborhoods, limited property taxes, and promotes an improved education system. Dr. Melinda Morris wants to improve access and insurance coverage for medical care. Dr. Morris is pro-life and will support right-to-life legislation in Austin. Dr. Morris will remain true to her values when she is elected to office. She is going to Austin to promote life, prosperity, and personal freedom for the constituents of Senate District 13.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network. President Trump also remarks he came after Senate Democrats sought to tie the Supreme Court nominee to abolishing pre-existing condition protection, which is a big lie. As usual, the Democrats like to lie. They're liars, people. The Democrat Party, those people you got in office right now, are big liars. A lot of them. We don't hear a lot from the main ones. We hear a lot from, what do you call it, the party leaders. And I believe that people are being threatened. I believe all kinds of things are happening for those people who would side with the Republican Party. They're being threatened with all kinds of things because they would be siding with common sense. I believe the reason Judge Amy Coney Barrett were chosen is precisely because of her judicial philosophy. As repeatedly stated, could lead to the outcomes President Trump has sought, claimed Senator Chris Coons, a Democrat from Delaware. And I think that has dramatically and potentially very harmful consequences with regard to election of Affordable Care Act, long settled rights. And we need to get rid of that garbage. The Affordable Care Act was unconstitutional in the first place. You know, taxing people if they don't have health insurance. At that time, I was unemployed. So, you can't afford it. So, and the thing was so screwed up, people, when it first came out. Remember the computer faux pas that were going on, and they couldn't even get the stupid thing straight. Yet Obama set up and hired 25,000 new IRS agents to manage this taxing of people because they didn't have health care. That sounds like punitive stuff to me. And I believe those funds also taken by the IRS should be refunded to the American people for those people who should not even have been taxed for such a foolish thing. Okay, let's move on. Well, I'm not going to really say too much about this, but regardless of if Obamacare is invalidated by the High Court or not, the President has already taken action to address some of the concerns. He signed an executive order called the American First Health Care Plan back in September. The order unequivocally affirms that it is the U.S. policy to give Americans seeking health care more choices, lower costs, and better care. It also notes the U.S. policy includes ensuring Americans with pre-existing conditions can get the insurance of their choice at affordable rates.